In this video, we are going to dig into how you can double your sales conversion or marketing conversion metrics through A/B testing. So if you've ever been in a situation where you were kind of stuck in between this kind of rock and a hard place, and you had these kind of two equally good options, but you weren't really sure which direction to go, we're going to go ahead and give you some tools and some process to allow for you to be able to do that. Stick with us. I'm Robert, the founder of Creative Agency Success, and we work with creative agencies to be able to simplify and scale their agencies. And so what we are talking about today is A/B testing. And just brass tacks, A/B testing is having two comparable items, likely with small variations in what you are doing, to allow for you to determine which ultimately performs better. And so what I want to just really hit importantly here is that in order for you to have an effective A/B test, you need to actually have consistency across it, especially when it comes to a sales environment. That in a lot of instances for a load of agencies, we see that there is no script, there is no process, there is no system. We're kind of just winging it. So if you're going to want to A/B test your sales process, you are going to need to start with a baseline that allows for you to be able to do that, essentially the control. For marketing, ultimately, essentially the same. And where a lot of A/B tests really go wrong is that you're actually A/B testing far too much. So we want to make sure that when we are going to go into an A/B test, we are going to, let's say it's an email, we're going to A/B test the subject line, we're going to A/B test the preview text, we're going to A/B test the location of the CTA so that we can ultimately determine what is actually going to allow for us to have the result that we are looking for, and making sure that we're able to do things in an effective method. From a sales perspective, one of the things that I just want to give you kind of some context and some idea as to things that we can ultimately do. Have a client that ultimately their sales cycle throughout the current economic climate, the amount of conversion essentially stayed the same over a longer period of time, but their average time to close significantly got longer. And it was problematic because ultimately they were not closing as much because things were taking longer to close. And so what we ended up doing was taking a subset of what they were actually doing and creating an A/B test in sales. And so what we actually did is went sort of with the presumptive close mindset, allowing for us to actually essentially conclude and assume that they're going to buy. And so the way that we actually did this was we had the sales team send over the contract immediately after the proposal review, allowing for us to see whether that impacted the actual conversion rate and or impacted the average time to close. In this example, they were able to actually take the conversion rate and increase it by 4 or 5%. So not crazy improvement, but the thing that did dramatically impact the agency is they went from around 100 days average days to close into the 20 to 25 average days to close, which is astounding because ultimately you're able to close more business when you're able to actually close in 1/3 of the time. So, 1/3 to 1/4 of the time. One of the things that is extremely important is the data component around A/B testing. So making sure that you have the tools to allow for you to be able to do this, be it a CRM, be it your landing page conversion metrics from, Google Analytics, what have you, from Hyros to all sorts of different tools, but making sure ultimately that you have a tool that is going to measure the things that you're looking for, have an understanding of where you are today, and then going into this A/B test with a hypothesis of this is going to have this assumed result, and then kind of concluding yes or no, did it have the impact? Did it have the impact to ultimately where we were looking to have that impact, and making sure that you're consistently doing it. What I see happen for loads of agencies is because you have such a tremendous amount of experience in the space, you're not utilizing data to decide ultimately where you're headed. And I want you to think about that. Is where are you right now not utilizing data to guide the decisions for your clients or for your agency itself, allowing for you to be able to have more impact in a shorter period of time and ultimately being able to actually get to your end objectives. So base rules for your A/B test is don't change too much, have a control, and then have a mechanism to measure, making sure that you're ultimately allowing for yourself to do this in a meaningful way. If you have any questions around something that you're looking to A/B test, do me a favor, comment below. We'll make sure to monitor and check those comments so that ultimately we can make sure to help you out. If you are looking for more videos like this, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. That way we can help you out with more additional tips and trainings for growing and scaling a creative agency.